Levy Ndou is a political analyst. He's been listening to all of this, watching the story play out since that interview given by André Ruyter last week. Levy, good afternoon to you. How do you see this? Pravin Gordhan, for many years, presenting himself as someone who was fighting corruption. He says he's not going to the police, but André Ruyter must. How do you see it?
Good afternoon, Stephen. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. This is a very difficult situation for the former CEO of Eskom, a difficult situation for the ANC, and of course for all of us as South Africans. But the revelations that have been made by the Ruyter would obviously require what, in my view, has been raised by a number of people. The Secretary General of the ANC has already indicated that the Ruyter should opt to go to the police and report this matter. We're getting the very same stories now from Pravin Gordhan, who is also putting an emphasis on the Ruyter having to go and report these matters to the police. It also puts the ANC in a situation where they have to act, whether it's going to be in their interest or not. They need to act because they are the ruling party, and if their ministers mentioned, all that we could do is to speculate that it should be ministers that are closer to Eskom as an entity. And I think that is why, in the minds of many people, they would think of Pravin Gordhan. But my sense is that you need ministers, you need CEOs who would not hesitate when wrong things are happening, would actually ensure that the law enforcement agencies are actually informed as early as possible, because that is exactly what we expect from leaders, that they actually have to act in a manner that portrays that they are not associated with corruption, but it has to be done as a principle of good governance.
There's so many different ways this argument could go. So, as we pointed out, many people have said, as you've mentioned, said the Ruyter must be the one who goes to the police. But if two people know about corruption and one knows more than the other, and the person who knows more doesn't go to the police, should the other person also go to the police? I mean, if the ANC demands to know who these names are, and Pravin Gordhan knows who the person is but won't say it, I mean, where does that leave us? I mean, it's a complicated story, isn't it?
It's quite complicated, and but you also expect those that are given responsibilities, especially in public institutions, to ensure that they are at the forefront in terms of how they behave, to fight against any other element of corruption or something that is suspicious, and they actually have to report that to the law enforcement agencies. The competency of our law enforcement agencies would be another thing, or something that we have to look at the other time. But the fact of the matter here is that if you occupy a position of authority and you are given certain responsibilities to deal with public institutions, you are not supposed to be hiding any element of corrupt activity, because that only contradicts the principle of good governance. So my expectation is that we shouldn't be where we are now. This is the matter that should have been dealt with long time ago, because it does not require secrecy. It requires one to act, and that action is by going to the law enforcement agencies of the Republic.
So, I mean, would you include Pravin Gordhan or only de Ruyter in that? I mean, let me put the question plainly, because I think it's a really interesting discussion point. Do you think Pravin Gordhan, knowing what he knows, should go to the police, or only de Ruyter?
Well, I would expect that both should have done so, and not only now. It should have happened long time ago. And there is also, difficult as this situation may be, there is also an issue that Pravin Gordhan is raising that says that go and report, but you should also know that you have to provide proof of what you're actually talking about. In the interview that the Ruyter had, I heard him talk about individuals who would take us to some institutions and then they only drive them at a particular period. That obviously one should be having proof of such individuals and such actions. There is a lot of money that is mentioned that is actually ending up in the hands of certain individuals. And of course, if it is indeed true and these individuals are known, they should have been reported a long time ago so that those that are given responsibilities to investigate should investigate it, and at the end of the day, arrest should therefore be effected. And that is the sense that I get, that if this matter was handled carefully, we shouldn't be where we are right now.
There's so many strands to this. I mean, you have De Ruyter himself, perhaps his identity as a white man as well. You have claims of corruption. You have these two ministers, well, we're told they're ministers, we're told they're senior officials who seem to benefit. This is both from De Ruyter and the two media organizations, News 24 and Daily Maverick, which have reported this. It seems to me, I don't know if you agree, it seems to me it's likely that by the end of the week we'll know who these two people are. There's so much pressure on the story that the names will sort of pop out somehow, rightly or wrongly. You have the ANC, which says it's not corrupt. How do you see all this playing out?
Well, I want to agree with you that at any given time or very soon, we should be knowing the names of these people. We are coming from the era of the Commission on State Capture in South Africa. And a lot of names have been mentioned and of people that are coming from the ANC. And the ANC says that they support the activities of the state capture, and those that have evidence should go and provide evidence. Equally, the ANC says that it is going to act on those that have been mentioned in the activities of the state capture. So my view is that the ANC should be seen to be urgently seeking for information on these names so that the ANC has to act against these people. And if the ANC is quite serious about the fight against corruption, we actually have to see the ANC taking hard action on those individuals, especially if indeed they are going to be mentioned and they will appear to be coming from the ANC itself.
Levy Ndou, thank you very much indeed. Really do appreciate it. As always, a political analyst, of course, following that story. Now, more